a contractor to the Department of Energy. I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us today for today's webinar on the Better Buildings Home Upgrade Program Accelerator. Before we get started into the meat of the presentation, I wanted to go over a few logistical items. First, all participant phone lines have been put on universal mute to prevent background noise during the presentation. In addition, if you haven't done so already, and if you're using a telephone to join us, please enter your 2- or 3-digit audio PIN. And you can find your audio PIN in the control panel box on the right-hand side of your screen. To enter it, you press pound, the 2- or 3-digit numbers, and pound again, and that's directly into your telephone keypad. And we ask you to do that so that we can unmute your line if you have any questions during the Q&A period. If you're listening to the presentation through your computer speakers, however, we will not be able to accept your questions orally during the Q&A period. Today we'll have that session. Those questions will be addressed at the end of the presentation. And during this Q&A session, you can either virtually raise your hand by clicking the blue circle button, as shown here on this slide. It has a little hand inside the blue, and we can unmute you. Or you can also type a question at any point during the webinar into the questions box in the control panel, and that you can see also on this slide. Just enter it directly, and we can also address those written questions during the Q&A portion. With that, I'll turn over the floor to Dale Hoffmeyer with the Department of Energy. Dale?
Great. Thank you, Sargon. Hello, everyone, and good afternoon or good morning, depending upon where you're at. My name is Dale Hoffmeyer. I'm with the Department of Energy's Building Technologies Office. And today I'd like to give you a short introduction to the Home Upgrade Program Accelerator. This is a new initiative we just kicked off at the end of May, and I'm going to provide you with a little bit of information about that today. To start with, I want to explain a little bit about what Better Buildings Accelerator is. The Department of Energy has a Better Buildings Initiative, which is a national leadership initiative, which calls on corporate CEOs, university presidents, utilities, state and local officials, and other leaders to make substantial commitments to improve the energy efficiency of their buildings and plants. A key cornerstone of the Better Buildings Initiative is something we call the Better Buildings Challenge, which is focused primarily on commercial building owners, and it calls on those leaders to make a commitment to a 20% or more savings across their organization's portfolios, and to share their strategies that are working, and also to substantiate their energy savings achievements using energy data. That Better Buildings Challenge I mentioned is focused primarily on commercial, but as part of the President's Climate Action Plan, the Department of Energy has expanded the initiative, the Better Buildings Initiative, to engage leaders in a set of Better Buildings accelerators. And originally, those accelerators also focused on commercial, and they are designed to demonstrate specific innovative policies and approaches, which upon successful demonstration will accelerate investment in energy efficiency. The original accelerators were focused on data centers, energy data for multifamily, outdoor lighting, energy savings performance contracting, and industrial superior energy performance. But at the end of May, we launched 2 new accelerators. One is the Home Energy Information Accelerator, and that accelerator would focus on getting home energy scores and ratings into the multiple listing service, and and being able to make that happen and overcoming what challenges there might be to accomplish that. That was one focus for the Home Energy Information Accelerator. The other accelerator is the Home Upgrade Program Accelerator, which we will discuss today. And that accelerator is designed to help home energy upgrade programs bring services to more homes across the country by leveraging data management strategies that minimize costs while improving overall program effectiveness. The Home Upgrade Program Accelerator is going to focus primarily on process improvements for home energy upgrade programs. And by improving the business processes used to manage and track home upgrades, review the quality of work, and evaluate energy savings and other impacts, programs can scale up to reach more homes. Now, this is not something that's unique to home upgrade programs. It is common in business, and many organizations will look at their processes and take a step-by-step approach, reviewing specific business processes, proposing solutions to improve those processes, testing the solution, implementing it, and then measuring the impact. And those are the kinds of improvements we're looking for in home upgrade programs, and that's what the Accelerator will focus on. Before I go further explaining about the Home Energy Upgrade Accelerator, I want to talk a little bit, give you a little context, and that's what this slide here is for. It illustrates some of the existing data flows between organizations that are involved in home energy upgrade programs. The homeowner, contractors using audit tools, the program might be at a utility and lenders that are offering financing. And so these are not only the flow of information, but they also represent processes. There's a process to collect this information, process for transferring this information, processes for reviewing this information, processes that use the information and may modify it or use it for different kinds of analysis or analytics about a program or for market research. Unfortunately, today this infrastructure is a bit fragmented and siloed in the marketplace, and the exchange of data occurs, but it's not always uniform. The definitions aren't uniform, the metrics are not uniform, and it sometimes lacks two-way feedback systems. And in order to improve on this, one thing that's really necessary is the use of common data standards. And one of those I'm going to talk about a little bit today is something called HPXML. And we're starting to see some improvements by programs that are starting to implement that. And that it looks like it's really an enabling technology that's helping to bring about a lot of different kinds of process improvements and process improvements to this existing infrastructure that is illustrated here. I mentioned that common data standards is somewhat foundational to this, and there is an effort here at the Department of Energy called the Building Energy Data Exchange Specification, or BEADS, and this effort is being led by the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, and a gentleman by the name of Paul Matthews is leading this effort, but it provides a common set of data terms, definitions, field formats that can be used by the public and private software tools in the building performance sector. And it's not only for residential, it's also for commercial and multifamily. And they actually, in pulling this together, looked across many existing data standards in the residential, commercial, multifamily to try to pull together and see where we could find commonality along those data standards. And if not, they could create mappings between one data set and another data set or data standards. So this is a great effort that's going on and will help to improve the infrastructure and processes. But even before BEADS got started, there was a group of individuals in the home performance community that saw the need for this and the opportunity as well. And they actually worked together. There were many people involved, private companies involved in software development, utilities, as well as public sector, and they worked together to develop a data standard that we now call today HPXML. It includes two different standards, actually, that were published by the Building Performance Institute, and one of them is a dictionary of terms for home upgrades, and it's one of the data standards that the BEADS effort looked at. And we continue to work together with BEADS and HPXML to make sure those are aligned. And then the second is a schema for data transfer. And this is using what's called extensible markup language, or XML. And these two standards are really enabling technologies that really make it possible to make a lot of different kinds of process improvements for programs. I provided a simple example at the bottom of what HPXML looks like. The only reason is sometimes people wonder, what does XML, what is this XML, HPXML, what are we talking about? And this simple example shows how you can communicate about one specific part of a home. And in this case, it's a water heating system. And it provides specific information that can be exchanged between two organizations or two computer systems. And they can both understand what's being sent, and there's a common way of doing it. And this is really transformative and foundational to bring about a lot of different kinds of process changes, not only in an organization, but in the marketplace, so that we can have replication across many different programs. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that HPXML. That's the only little bit I want to show you. What's really more important is not the details here of HPXML, but what it enables us to do. And I think that's really the key thing I want you to take away is, what does this HPXML enable us to do? So HPXML does enable us to do a lot of things, and expanding the capabilities that we would have in the infrastructure that exists today, as far as the processing of data and other kinds of administrative processes in a program. And as you can see in this illustration, it shows many new connections between different organizations and passing information. And in many of these connections here, not only is data flowing, but there are opportunities for different types of process improvements, or using the data in ways that couldn't have been used in the past. And that's really what this diagram is intended to illustrate. So the real takeaway here is that HPXML is really an important tool. It standardizes a collection of residential building data. It increases data interoperability between industry software systems. It facilitates implementation consistency across jurisdictions to drive economies of scale. And I think that's really a key thing, is driving economies of scale. That's really what we want to do. And by having common data standards, or this enabling technology that we have with HPXML, it allows that to happen. It allows for replication of solutions across many jurisdictions and many programs. And by doing that, then we can have economies of scale. So instead of having one-off solutions that are not replicable, we can see some economies of scale because of that replication. In addition, it's an important tool because it helps us to create consistent, high-quality, and large-scale data sets to inform market research and valuation of EE resources. So these are a couple of reasons why it's an important tool, and it's also helping to enable a lot of kinds of process improvement changes. So I want to step back and give you a couple of examples at the program level of what kinds of process improvements can happen that we're interested in the Accelerator, and also how HPXML can play a role in that. So one of those that I want to bring up is improving contractor reporting. And this can be done by, one way is by enabling contractor choice of audit software. And in this case, instead of a program offering the contractors one software that they can use to do their audits and to collect information, instead it can offer contractors to select from several available software that might be on the market that can export data in a common data format like HPXML. And that way, contractors have choice, and yet the program can still get the information that they need. In the Arizona Public Service Home Performance Program, they were able to double their contractor satisfaction by implementing this type of a strategy. Another process improvement is streamlining the data collection and also implementing auto-validation. So in that case, what you're using is you're streamlining the way you're collecting the data. Because you have common data standards in place and you're using common data flows, you can also add in auto-validation. You know what you're expecting, and that means you can reduce the amount of time it takes for individuals in your organization to review information. or also you can catch or flag information and just make the whole process easier. So another example is the Arizona Public Service Home Performance Program. They were able to decrease their administrative cost per project by 50% because of the changes they were able to implement. And another way of making process improvements is to streamline the reporting and data transfer as well. And HPXML can enable that, and can be used to enable that type of a process improvement. So there are a number of benefits to a program as far as process improvement, but these changes can also benefit trade allies. And the one that I first mentioned about choice of tools for data collection and modeling for contractors, there's a couple of reasons why that would be a benefit to the contractor or trade ally. One is it might allow them to select a software that's better aligned with their business systems. And they could also have a selection of software and take advantage of different kinds of innovative features that might be offered. In addition, they could select software that integrates better with their internal quality management. So these are a number of reasons why a contractor would benefit, and because of that, it would streamline or improve their business processes internally. And in the Arizona Public Service Program, contractors reported 31% reduction in administrative time per project. And so that's a real benefit for them, not only for the program because of these process changes, but also for the contractors that participate. And ultimately, these kinds of process improvements enabled by HPXML could provide potential seamless experience across markets and programs. For example, if you have a contractor that is participating in two programs that are run by different programs, programs run by different utilities in the same area, they could maybe have similar kinds of way of data collection, but yet they may be asking for different information for each of the programs. And yet, for the contractor, it might be much easier for them having one way of collecting data regardless of what the program is. I want to talk about a couple other kinds of process improvements, and it reminds me of a quote that I have when I enter my office. I posted it outside so I would remind myself every time I come in, and the quote says, "The first rule of any technology used in a business is the automation applied to an efficient operation will magnify the efficiency. The second is that automation applied to an inefficient operation will magnify the inefficiency." That's a quote by Bill Gates, and it really illustrates that, you know, it's great to use technology to automate certain processes, but sometimes we have to really look at the process and make sure that it's as efficient as it could be. And so one of the things that programs can do is evaluate their processes that they have internally, like make the customer program application process easier and reduce financing approval times. And in New York, I was talking with them, and I heard that last summer, they had a 60-day effort that they called their early wins, which was actually led by their COO, and it really looked at streamlining the existing workflow, and they did that in preparation for a new automated workflow. So instead of just automating the existing workflow, they were actually looking at how do we improve the existing workflow before we actually go down that path of automating it and implementing things like HPXML in order to enable those kinds of process improvements. And just by making those changes, they were able to improve their process for their customers coming to their website and being able to move from a decision to participate in the program to actually getting an approved contract offer within 1 week. So for 95% of their customers, that was a reasonably short amount of time, and much improved over what was previous. Another way is just streamlining and simplifying work scope reviews. And in the New York case, they were able to reduce their review time from 8 to 1 day 8 days to 1 day, and also reduce the FTE involved. So that also not only resulted in reduced time, but also reduced costs for them. So those are a couple of the examples, and what we anticipate is that there are several ways that a program can reduce administrative time and cost. Some of these include simplifying and streamlining customer application process, streamlining data collection and improve data consistency, enable faster quality assurance review, facilitate faster project approvals for contractors, enable contractor selection of modeling software, which reduces training costs and typical support needs, and HPXML is a key tool for implementing that, and also shorter cycle evaluation of impacts. There may be others, and we are interested in learning more about these types of improvements, specifically these types of improvements that are replicable in other programs. So for the Home Upgrade Program Accelerator, we're looking to partner with a few good program champions and champions of change, because making process improvements is not always easy. There's a process in place in your organization, and changing it usually means moving against some existing inertia to keep the process the way it is. And so we're really looking for some champions of change who are willing to make the effort and review those processes and look at ways to improve their programs. So the Home Upgrade Program Accelerator has a vision to lower cost of administration for home upgrade programs to enable growth of millions of homes per year. And we anticipate that partners in this program will be completing some types of software updates and implementing HPXML as an enabling technology for making process improvements, and that they will be documenting changes. We want to see demonstrate approaches for reducing program administrative costs enabled by both HPXML as well as other strategies. And we want to also determine what the cost or the benefits impact from these changes. We want to analyze and document what the cost and time savings of these streamlined approaches. And ultimately, we want to disseminate best practice. We want to highlight the partner's success, but ultimately we want to be able to identify which of these types of process improvements are replicable for other programs and share that information with other programs. We anticipate that partners in the accelerator will realize about four benefits. One is they will get technical assistance in implementing HPXML and other process improvements. We're working with National Renewable Energy Lab to provide some support with HPXML implementation, but also just in sharing amongst the partners, we'll be able to gain some assistance in implementing HPXML and other improvements. Programs that partner and make a commitment, they'll be implementing strategies that will reduce their program costs and enhance effectiveness. They will be potentially also improving participation of contractors and their satisfaction in participating, and they will also be receiving public recognition from DOE for their commitment and achieving the goals that they set. So like I mentioned, we're looking for a few good programs to partner with. Program partners will be administrators of home energy upgrade programs that are committed to the accelerator's goals and will make a pledge to set specific commitments to improve program effectiveness. And there can be different ways they're doing that, but as I mentioned earlier, one of those might be implementing HPXML and other practices, these kinds of enabling technologies that will allow them to make other kinds of process improvements. And they will be willing to share that information so that we can publicize their success, as well as to document strategies that are replicable for other programs. We kicked off this accelerator at the end of May, and we had 6 initial partners: Arizona Public Service, New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, Build It Green, Clean Energy Works, Pearl Home Certification, and the Building Performance Institute, which maintains the HPXML standard. Last, I'd like to provide just a little bit more detailed information about what is expected of partners and how we plan to succeed through this accelerator. This table lists some commitments, and it's broken out into 2 main areas. One is we really want to work to identify barriers and challenges and then implement strategies. And second, we want to share progress and successes. And to start with, we'll be meeting with partners that participate. We will be meeting with them one-on-one to discuss the barriers and challenges that they see in their program and implementing these kinds of process improvements, and also discussing the strategies they plan to implement to overcome those challenges. We'll be also discussing with them different metrics that they will be tracking over the next 3 years in implementing those improvements, and then how they will track that they can, so we can show progress of what those improvements have achieved as far as impact on their program. We'll be checking in with partners quarterly to see how they're doing on their strategies that they're implementing. And then we'll also be doing quarterly peer exchange calls where partners can share information that's common amongst the partners about how to make improvements or challenges that they're facing. So we'll be holding those peer exchange calls. And then partners will report annually on their progress, so we can document that in an annual report, media announcements, and potentially case studies that can highlight those kinds of solutions that are replicable for other programs. So in addition to the partners, the programs that we're interested in partnering with, there are a number of other organizations that programs work with to achieve these innovative solutions and process improvements. And so some of these other collaborators, we call them, that help to implement these changes in programs can include program implementers, developers of audit software databases, and program analytics. And these key collaborators are making many of the changes that will benefit not only the program, but in the future may also benefit the marketplace and other programs. So we definitely want to work with our partners to identify who they're collaborating with, and also if partners can invite them to participate in the peer exchange calls. So with that, I want to stop now, and I'm going to just show the last slide with my contact information. If you're interested in the Home Upgrade Accelerator, Home Upgrade Program Accelerator, you can contact me, and we can set up a call and discuss next steps. But now we can open it up, and if anyone has any questions.
So if anyone would like to submit a written question, please go ahead and type them into your questions box, which is located in the GoToWebinar control panel, and that's likely on the right-hand side of your screen. If you would like to contribute over the phone, please raise your hand, and be sure to enter your audio PIN if you wish to be unmuted, and that can be found in the audio pane also of your GoToWebinar control panel. So Dale, someone has asked whether they can get the presentation materials from today for future reference.
Sure, we'll be happy to send those out. or they can contact me directly and I can send them to them.
We have one person asking whether industry such as HVAC and insulation industry has expressed interest.
Not yet. We've mostly been in contact with program administrators, since that's really the focus of this, is working with program administrators for this accelerator.
And someone asks whether you could go through the benefits of joining.
Go to the benefits of joining?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Go over those again. So
yeah.
The benefits for Accelerator partners, the things that we anticipate that partners will realize by participating. One is assistance in implementing HPXML and other process improvements. There's a couple ways. One is we're working with National Renewable Energy Lab to help provide some support in the area of possibly developing some tools, but also just in working with the HPXML working group. But they've provided some tools in the past that make that much easier for programs that are interested in implementing it. And then also in the peer exchange and exchanging information about different kinds of process improvements and how that's going amongst the partners. And then by participating and making a commitment to making these kinds of process improvements, we do expect that partners will realize program cost savings as well as enhanced effectiveness, and potentially, depending upon what types of improvements they implement, also improve participating contractor satisfaction, as was one of the examples with Arizona Public Service showed that. And also partners receive recognition from Department of Energy. So those are some of the benefits that we would anticipate partners receiving through the accelerator.
We have one person asking what other areas of improvement beyond HPXML will the accelerator address in the future?
I'm not sure exactly. I mean, it really depends upon what partners propose. I think HPXML is really an enabling technology. So in and of itself, I don't know that it's necessarily a process improvement, but it helps to enable different types of process improvements, some of those which I illustrated. So we're interested in what different program partners would propose as far as what types of process improvements they want to undertake over the next year or next couple years. And so we're interested in learning from them, as well as I think other programs are, as what kinds of process improvements. But specifically, I think we're interested in the type of process improvements that are replicable to other programs. If there's a type of improvement that's being made in a program, but it's really so unique that it only really benefits that program, that's a good thing for that program, but it's not really going to be something, you know, we could tell others about it, but if it's so unique to that program, it doesn't really benefit anyone else by writing it up as a case study per se. So we're really looking for things that are going to be transformative across the marketplace and are going to be replicable by other programs. And so HPXML is, again, one of these enabling technologies that seems like it has some ability to be used in other programs, and they can realize different types of process improvements. But we're interested in talking with different programs about what other kinds of changes that they are looking to make in their programs and what they are learning through making process improvements.
Sort of piggybacking on the HPXML topic, we have a couple questions. Just how would an employee know whether their company is already using HPXML? And then sort of in conjunction with that, on a scale from 1 to 10, how big of a lift is it to convert over to HPXML?
I'm not sure that I can answer either of those questions. As far as if your organization is using HPXML right now, it's really usually used in the exchange of information between computer systems, and you need to talk to somebody who's involved with that. And primarily, where it's being used is there's data being collected in the field by audit software, and that information that goes into that software is that information then being transferred to the program somehow. In the past, audits might be done in paper in the field, and then that paper would just be handed in. Obviously, there's no HPXML being involved there. And so really, when we're talking about using HPXML, it's a way of helping to bring about more digital and automated type systems, and that's really where you might see it. And so you would probably need to talk to your IT department or the people who manage the software that you use in your program. As far as how heavy of a lift it is, that's a good question. It's hard to quantify what that would be for a specific organization. What I do know is that some programs that I mentioned are partners. One of them is Arizona Public Service, and the other is New York. They've actually done a lot of work in implementing this in their program and working with different market actors, including some of the software audit providers or vendors of audit software. And because of that, they've actually made changes to their software in order to support those programs and the implementation and process improvements in those programs in New York as well as Arizona. And so because of that, because of the work that they have done, it's probably going to be less of a heavy lift than it would have been a couple years ago. And I think that's really the thing to take away is the more programs that do this, an example like in the Accelerator, the more partners that we get who are doing that in the Accelerator, and the more we can learn from it and then document how that went and how to make it easier for the next person who comes along, the easier it is for everybody in the future. So I can't really quantify exactly what it would take, but it's less than it would have taken probably a couple years ago.
Great.
And you can thank a number of the programs, individuals at Arizona Public Service as well as New York and others on our list here, as well as many of the people who were involved in developing HPXML. You can thank them for the hard work they put into that, because I think it makes it easier for everybody. And going forward, the more people who do implement it and use it for process improvements, the more we all will benefit.
Sounds good. We've got a couple other questions here. This person asks, we are a training and testing center and would like to know if we fall under your criteria as a possible partner. We would like to be on top of this since we use and train modeling software in a state that does not overall use any software.
Well, we're primarily looking for program administrators as partners for this, and we're looking for the types of process improvements that they would make. If I was involved in software training, I mean, this is obviously something I would want to be aware of in these kinds of improvements, and definitely we can stay engaged, and we are interested in putting out information about what we're learning so others in the community can also learn from that. And so I would stay in touch, but I'm not sure. Primarily, we're looking for program administrators.
Great. Another attendee asks, is the Home Energy Information Center part of the Accelerator or separate?
I mentioned there's a Home Energy Information Accelerator, which is a separate accelerator. My colleague Joan Glickman is actually leading that up. She leads the Home Energy Score here at DOE, and she's leading up that accelerator, which will focus on working with the real estate community and programs to get home energy score and home energy rating and other kind of information about the energy efficiency of a home into the multiple listing service. And that's a specific challenge that they're going to be working on in that accelerator. And that accelerator is separate from this accelerator, the Home Upgrade Program Accelerator.
So we have another attendee asking, it seems that the utility companies will benefit greatly from a successful implementation of this. So this person recommends that they assist that utilities assist their best contractors and even their internal staff to participate. So this person's question as a result is, has direct outreach to all utilities been considered?
We are looking for any home upgrade program administrators, and we've been reaching out to them if they're interested in participating. I understand some that I've talked to that there may be challenges based on what their budget cycles are and the changes that they are making in their existing systems, or if they've just made changes, things like that. But we are interested in partnering with home upgrade program administrators. They may be utilities, and it could be other organizations as well that are administering these kinds of programs.
We have another question about HPXML. Is Treat using HPXML?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, what I know that they are participating in, I think, the implementation in a couple of these programs that were using HPXML. So I'm not somebody who's reviewed that, but I'm assuming because they participated in those that must be the case. But you should consult with them about that.
Another question: how far down the line will this impact the MLS?
Yeah, it could. It could potentially collecting more of this type of information in a way that then could be pushed to the MLS. That would be one benefit, and others have brought that up. And as I mentioned, we do have another accelerator initiative that is focused just on getting that kind of information into MLS. So so definitely this helps in that, and there is a connection. We're just not focused on that specific connection or process, the process of moving that information into MLS. That's not a process that we're really focusing on in this accelerator, but there's another accelerator specifically focusing on that.
Another question about HPXML here. For existing programs using modeling software, can you tell us what software is currently implementing HPXML?
I don't have a list of that. Again, I would suggest, I think Arizona and New York, I could follow up and provide you information about what those two partners, what software is participating in their programs. I don't have a list right offhand, but I could provide that from them, or I can give you a contact there and you can contact them.
We have a couple of people writing in clarifying that Treat is HPXML compliant.
Okay, thank you.
Another attendee asked, how might WAP or WAP participate?
How might WAP participate? I haven't really thought about that. They could maybe contact me and we could discuss that. Again, we're looking for home upgrade program administrators that are implementing process improvements. And if there's a WAP program that's interested in implementing these kinds of process improvements that we're talking about, and they would result in cost savings or time savings, and they can document them, then it's definitely a possibility that they could be interested in having them as a partner.
So we invite attendees to submit any last questions if you've got them. We've got a little bit of time to our scheduled webinar session. So if you'd like to ask any questions of our presenter, Dale, now would be a good chance to submit them. I'll also remind you that if you'd like to answer a question over the phone, just simply raise your hand or write in that you'd like to be unmuted. And if you're connected properly, we can make sure to unmute you so you can contribute over the phone.
And if anyone thinks of something later, please contact me. I'll just put my contact information up there again. And happy to set up a call and discuss what you're thinking, what questions you might have.
All right. Well, without any more questions coming in, I think we're going to perhaps draw this meeting to a conclusion here. And thank you for your participation. Again, thank you for everyone who showed up here today and participated in the session. Dale still has his contact information up on the screen there. So one last encouragement that if you have any questions or additional comments, feel free to reach out to Dale directly. With that, I'll thank you all for participating, and Dale, our presenter, as well. And everyone have a nice day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.